What's going on, everybody? Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kieran and I help people using a spiritual perspective. Today I wanted to talk about vibration, essentially the misinformation around vibration. I kind of want to talk about all that stuff. So there's this growing idea, which is probably a tree at this point, that your thoughts determine your vibration. So if you have negative thoughts, you will have a sort of negative vibration, and therefore your life will look according to, whatever you're thinking. So if you have negative thoughts, negative vibrations, your life is probably not going to be in a good place. Conversely, if you have positive thoughts, then you have positive vibrations, and then thus your life is, I suppose, Candyland or something close to it, where everything's hot chocolate. I don't know what kind of idea people have in their mind, but there's obviously a scale of negative and positive, right? And it's interesting that a lot of these spiritual ideas are still based on the dichotomy of black and white, wrong versus right, evil versus good, right? There's always this absolute, fatalist sort of idea of what needs to be like this and what needs to be like that. And so we're still bringing in these very old ideas of, religious, traditional ideologies and sort of just swapping the language out. And there we have sort of the vibration thing. So obviously this is just a sort of control mechanism. I don't know how obvious this is to other people, but let me break it down for you guys. So this idea, this prevalent belief, specifically really among the New Age spiritual community, is that your vibration is determined by your thoughts, as I've already sort of explained, right? And so just to go into that a little bit deeper, that means that if you have a specific thought or a series of specific thoughts that are negative, maybe your vibration gets lowered. And so there's already this idea that our vibration needs to be high. And so we start doing things or trying to think certain ways in order to make our vibration high, right? Whatever that really means to you. We start taking on spiritual practices, we start doing a lot of stuff, we try to remain optimistic and positive at all times, and we build up this sort of false sense of confidence in order to reach this place where we've determined is the higher place to be, is the better place to be. Because we're already thinking in things in terms of positive and negative. And that should not be the way that you think. It shouldn't be right or wrong, positive, negative. It should be what works and what doesn't work. Because that's more objective, that's more true. Everybody has different perspectives, everybody has different sense of morality, societal, cultural differences. But what works and what doesn't work is always going to be true for the individual. It's always going to be true all across the board, right? It's very simple. So your vibration may have nothing to do with what you do or what you don't do, right? And that's sort of the point. It has nothing to do with your thoughts. You could think a lot of positive thoughts and still feel like shit. You could think a lot of negative thoughts and still have good things happen to you. You can be anywhere in between. I've experienced it myself. I've seen other people. The idea that your vibration is somehow connected directly to a powerless energy coming from your mind is laughable, actually. I'm not laughing, but it is sort of laughable because your thoughts have no energy behind them. Not only is this scientifically true, but it's energetically true. And even more than that, the fundamental law of spirituality, or one of them if you want to call it a law, is that you're not your thoughts. And there's always the idea that you are the presence behind your thoughts. So while thoughts can get in the way and certainly be obtrusive to our sense of peace or sense of happiness, they are not actually directly affecting your vibration, whatever you think that is, or your emotions, really. Your emotions, on the other hand, certainly do cause negative thoughts or negative feelings, obviously. But even then, the way that you feel may not determine your vibration, because you can't necessarily feel completely happy or peaceful all the time. And if your vibration is determined by how you feel or how you think, then what about the idea that what you're going through is meant to happen? I mean, are you going to tell me that because something terrible happens in your life and you are saddened by it or feel negative about it, that suddenly everything in your life is going to fall apart? Because that's simply a logical thinking. It's fear-based. So the idea that our thoughts are determining our vibration, which I sense sort of is what people think gets them what they want. If they have a high vibration, then they're attracting friends, love interests, romantic partners, jobs, money. That's what people think when they have high vibration, and they think, well, then I'll feel peaceful, happy, energetic, right? there's these ideas that we have, whereas the opposite, negative, low vibration, we would think that we're going to be heavy and we're attracting negative things towards us and negative people and always having fights and stuff like that. And, this idea that that somehow just is going to happen because of some negative thoughts is ludicrous, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous to the individual who is new to spirituality and is trying to do the best that they can. It's dangerous to people who have a tendency to blame themselves, which is a lot of people, and it's dangerous to people who are not spiritual at all, because a lot of them are going to see stuff like that and sort of paint spirituality in this broad stroke, which is going to be very negative. It's going to see they're going to take something and be like, look at what these people believe, isn't that nonsense? And they would have a right to sort of, in this case, say that that's nonsense. But I will tell you what does affect your vibration, if we're going to go with this word. And again, it is just a word, but if we're going to go with the word vibration, I will tell you what does affect it. And it's not your thoughts and it's not what you do, it is how you respond to things. Now that's obviously a little bit of what you do, a little bit of your thoughts, but not a huge sort of way. I mean, what I mean by that is that if it's how you respond to things, then that may be the thought that, I'm not going to engage in that. I usually engage in this particular response, and today, no, thank you. And that obviously has a lot to do with the action. So if you're not taking an action, then of course that's going to have a little bit to do. But in essence, it's how you respond to things that is basically determining your vibration, right? How you respond to things. So somebody says something negative towards you. Maybe in the past you would argue, fuck you, this kind of stuff, and now you just laugh it off. Okay, that's a sign that your vibration has grown. That's a sign that you're sort of in a better space and determination of where your vibration's at, your higher vibration, right? It's just basically how you respond to things. And how you respond to things has a sort of 2-step forward, 1-step back type of thing. Because you're going to watch your progress increase, and then sometimes you're going to see that you go back into old ways of handling situations. Because maybe you've gotten over road rage, but haven't necessarily gotten over a family member's particular judgment of you, and so you react to that situation negatively still, whereas with road rage you sort of let it go and you don't care anymore. Okay, so there's always these sort of back and forth type of situations where in one instance we may respond very positively and peaceful, and in another we don't at all. And so it's not like the universe or your higher self is going to punish you simply because you don't care about road rage, but you do care about, one of your family members, and you always seem to get into an argument with them. Okay, it's not like the universe is punishing you for your lack of high vibrations, right? Your thought, some thoughts about anything that you deem low is not going to bring in a horrible amount of stuff into your life. Certainly the belief that your life is going to be horrible if you do all this will bring in that, because that's your belief. You believe it to be true. It's the placebo effect. If you believe something to be true, it probably is you're going to find evidence that it's true, even if it necessarily isn't. And the moment that you find evidence that contradicts that, you're going to find that it wasn't so true to begin with, and you'll start seeing all the evidence that you previously have found start to fall away, right? So there's this just a growing frustration that I find within people who are not realizing that the vibration, myth is really detrimental to our mental health, because we're constantly second guessing ourselves. We have a negative thought and we think that it's bringing us down. We have something that's uncomfortable that we don't like that we're feeling, and we feel that if we have that for even more than a minute or two, we're suddenly going to veer off into some terrible direction, and we're going to crash and burn, and the universe will punish us, and we won't get the love interest or the job or the money or the new home or anything that we want, right? Even though there are plenty of examples of egotistical narcissists throughout the world who are completely successful and have everything they want, and their vibration is probably rock bottom, right? Because again, it's how you respond to things. And for all the successful people in the world, regardless of how narcissistic they are or how genuine they may be, people find success in different methods, in different ways. And a lot of the people that are successful in the world have low vibrations, or they don't respond to things positively. And I've met a lot of people who respond to things incredibly positively and have nothing, right? So it's not like it's a blanket statement where we can just say our thoughts or our feelings are determining the vibration of what we are, because that's not true. But what more accurately describes what's determining our vibration is, again, this idea on how we're responding to things. What kind of actions we're going to take when something uncomfortable or negative happens, what we're going to do about that, what's different this time, our reflection upon it, new choices. There's a lot that goes into that, and not every time it's going to be a smooth transition. But that doesn't mean that suddenly everything's going to fall apart. So this is just a video to sort of let you guys know that it's okay to give yourselves a break if you have a week or two, even a month where you're not feeling too good, where you feel low, where you feel down, where you're worried, where you're fearful. A lot of that stuff is normal, and it's part of being human, and it's certainly part of going through a spiritual awakening. The worst thing you can do is treat yourself like you're a non-human. Stop remembering that there's still a child inside of you, and to just forget about your innocence entirely, and to come at spirituality with a sense of guilt and obligation does not make it fun. It makes it a lot harder, and in my experience from having doing this, it makes it sort of like moving through mud, and it just makes it so much more difficult. And I can't express to you how much time I have wasted personally feeling down and guilty about the way that I was feeling. Essentially, being angry at being angry, things like that. And how hurtful that is to your actual being, how hurtful that is to yourself and to your inner child.